adjustment. Maybe. Maybe I won't do it. That red truck up there left a big cloud of smoke on takeoff. I hate diesel. I like gas mileage, but I don't like all the smoke. I've been trying to mess with my levers here. I almost stalled it at the light. It's kind of substantial, actually. Like, it doesn't look like it moves very much, but they move quite a bit. And I had it all the way close to the bar there, and it was almost too much. I wasn't really ready for it, and I almost stalled it. Well, what's going on today, guys? It's a great day. About 70 degrees here, I think. And we're just out to explore a little bit. Not too far from home, but looking at the map, I think I was a little disappointed on the road that I chose today, but or thought I was going to choose today, but we're going to make a loop and go around anyway. The one I thought I was going to go on really is pretty much just a neighborhood. There's an overpass over the highway I saw, but the road just leads to a neighborhood. Power Stroke Platinum. What's that say? Earth something was the plate? Scooter. I want to talk about shortly today, if you were to buy a motorcycle, new versus used, and what I think you should do. Almost no matter if it's your first bike or your 10th bike. I believe unless it's something you just really have to have and you make good money and you just really, really want to have something new, I would pretty much say to go used, almost always. I think I was supposed to go there actually. But we're going to ride this out. When I say that, I bought this bike new, and now that I've done that, I think it's a mistake. Not because I dropped it, but or that I can't afford it. I can afford it, and it's my first street bike. I think at some point everybody falls on their street bikes, and looking at it now and looking at the bikes that are used, or if not used, they're a model year old or two, and the price is way discounted on it. I would definitely go used, or like I said, maybe 2 years old. If you can find a new bike that's 2 years old. I looked at an R1. I ultimately decided not to get it after riding the R1. We're going to turn around here. But I had to look at it because it was such a good deal. It was a 2012. It's the end of the year 2014 still. The bike was a 2012, 0 miles, And instead of the $16,000 MSRP of the new one, it was marked all the way down to $9,000 because it was a 2012 and they hadn't sold it yet. And I see that. Well, this was 2014 and I bought it in January of 15, and well, I paid the $10,000 sticker price, and I think that was mainly because the dealership did actually pay off the Shadow. They didn't roll over trade-in value versus what I owed. And so, whoa, yellow lines are slippery. And so I didn't get much of a good price. But I've seen now there's a couple 2013s that are still new, and they're marked down to $8,000 or so, a couple thousand less. And I think you can get that about anywhere on any bike. So if you have to go new and you don't have to have the latest model, or that's the road I wanted to. Or in the R6's case, when they really haven't changed the model in so many years, you can afford to go with the model or two older. I don't want to go through the mud. I don't want to go through the mud. Because there's really no difference. So, you know, I could have even found a 2010 or 2011 or something like that, used probably 10,000 miles or so, maybe, for quite a bit less. What's kind of a cool road. And my payments would have been a lot lower than this. And I probably would have got a better interest rate even on the loan. So that's sort of my suggestion, is to go used or to go a couple years old at least and find one that the dealer's just trying to get rid of. Because if you're going to look at a bike, I mean, you kind of need to be careful. Like, this one's been dropped. A lot of sport bikes are going to have been dropped if they're used. You know, it is kind of a turn-off. But you're just going to have it. If it's your first bike, you're probably going to drop it at some point. I didn't drop my Shadow, my first bike, but I dropped this one. So I think used, if you go used, just look at it really closely. You know, even if it's been dropped, if it's got a scuff mark here or there, don't worry about the scuff marks. Just try to do a bit more in-depth looking at the actual parts and pieces. See what's broken, what's not broken. Just make sure everything's operational. Try to get a sense of the person, maybe, to see if, you know, especially if it's a sport bike, if they're just on it all the time. You know, so you can try to get an idea maybe of the type of miles that were put on the bike. But a sport bike, there's only so much you can do. People are gonna get on them and they're gonna ride them. So if it's within reason of how many miles it has versus how old it is, I still really wouldn't worry about it too much. Because let's face it, if you're like me, and you do like me, you buy new, and you drop it. I had 10 miles on the bike and I dropped it. I mean, it's just awful to think about. So if you buy a used bike and you drop it, it's not going to sting so bad. You know, you're not going to feel as bad about it. And then once you're more comfortable in the bike and you just want something nicer and newer, go ahead and go for that new one. But again, as I said, try to get the one that, as long as it still has the features and stuff that you want, try to get the one that's a year or two old and the dealership can get rid of for a good price. Shoot, when I bought this one, they were trying to sell me well, they weren't trying to sell me, but the guy had suggested to me I was looking at the Ninja 636, and he suggested to me maybe the Ninja, they had a ZSXR 1000. It was actually a 2011, and they still had it. And again, it was $15,000, $16,000 motorcycle. They had dropped all the way to 8.5, I think. And I actually thought about it, but because they were taking my trade-in for above trade-in value, they said that I would actually have to take the price on it, not the sale price, which, I don't know, say what you want. I thought I had a good dealership. I'm not going to name names just yet, because really I bought the Shadow there, and I bought parts there and pieces there, and I've always had good service, really, until this bike came. It's not that they didn't give me the sale price on the good bike or whatever. It's actually after the fact. It took them 2 months. They didn't pay off my Shadow, and I actually had to go back in there, and I said, hey, this is not, I'm still getting the bill for my Shadow. And they said, well, we've paid it, maybe it's on Honda's side. And basically 2 more days went by and I didn't hear from anyone. I was out of town, and I sent them an email just so I could have sort of a documented proof. And I said, if I call Honda on Monday and it's not paid off by Monday, I'm bringing this Yamaha back even, and you're going to have both bikes, and it's your responsibility. I'm done. And they emailed me back, and they overnighted a check, and sure enough, I got paid off by Monday. So if I do it again, if I get another bike, I probably won't go there. I've been to a few other dealerships around here that actually have even better service. But it's not that I wouldn't recommend going to the place I bought this. My Shadow was handled perfectly when I bought it. This one was handled fine when I bought it. It was just really the payoff of the Shadow that wasn't. So, not yet. I'm not going to condemn the dealership just yet. But I'm probably just going to start, easing off of them and going somewhere else. But enough of that, really. We'll get back to and maybe finish up a little bit about it. So, like I say, my feeling is to go used, and I know sometimes it's hard to go used because the dealerships may not have too many used bikes, or they're not the best used bikes. And if you go with a private seller, you got to have all the cash. I would suggest, looking at the private sellers, trying to get approved for a loan maybe on your own, I would suggest credit unions for that. And basically you just have it and just have the approval ready. And that way, even when you go to a dealership, if the dealership doesn't give you a very good finance deal, maybe your own deal might be better. You might have a better interest rate or something like that. And you won't have to use the dealer for financing. And then if you have to go new, try to go, I would say 2 years old, because that really just the model year old. If it's the same model, unchanged, and only a year old, they don't really come down on price. But once they've been sitting there for 2 years, dealerships tend to come down on price quite a bit. So those are my thoughts, those are my suggestions. I did that with a car. I got a really nice car, 3 years old, barely any miles on it, but being used. And I think it actually had still been sitting at the dealership for a while because they wanted too much for it. Ended up swooping in and getting it at a really good price, getting a really good car for a lot less than what a lot of my friends have paid for their new cars. So that's my suggestion. Leave me some comments, your experiences with buying motorcycles, used versus new, your thoughts. Click the subscribe button if you want updates as I add new videos. And like I said, if you leave me comments or ask me something, I'm still really small time. I'm gonna read them, I'm gonna see them, I'm gonna respond to you. I like doing that kind of stuff anyway. That first road I got on was actually kind of cool until it came to an end. I know where it was coming out at, and that's just not where I wanted to be. Missed my turn about 3 times, but we got back on track and made the loop here. But I hope you guys have a nice day. Hope you guys are getting nice weather like I am here. Still a little chilly come mornings, so I'm not riding my motorcycle to work too much just yet. But the afternoons are starting to get real nice. Safe riding as always. I will see you guys in the next video.